Meanwhile, a Michigan hair salon facing backlash following a recent controversial Facebook post announcing transgender customers were not welcome, suggesting they should seek services at a local pet groomer instead. The salon, Studio 8 Hair Lab, writing the post after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Christian graphic designer Lori Smith, who is seeking the right to refuse to create wedding websites for same-sex couples. Now, that post by the salon has since been deleted. City officials are now investigating whether the salon is violating an anti-discrimination ordinance.
Christine Geiger is the owner of Studio 8 Hair Lab in Traverse City, Michigan, and she joins us now. Christine, welcome, and thank you very much for coming on. Again, your salon now gaining national attention based on that Facebook post. Could you explain what was included in the post and why you thought you wanted to send it?
Yes. I had just gotten to the point where after being aware and observing all of the things that have been going on in our society for the past 3-4 years out in the open, but discovering how the agenda has been pushed much longer than that in the shadows, I finally had enough and I took a stand.
And you've been getting some support from people who agree with you. We've seen that. I know you've sent in some, or we've seen some stuff online, messages sent to you, but you also are getting a lot of hate mail, which you shared with us as well. One text we can show you was received saying this, quote, "I'm sickened by your ignorance and small-minded thinking. The fact that you consider yourself so superior to anything outside of your simple conservative thoughts is laughable in the current times. The news of your bigoted salon has made its way to Canada. You are in no way seen as a smart businesswoman standing up for your rights. Father, a sacred and hateful human. Shame on you." Do you have any response to to the other messages that you've received on social media? I mean, what do you say to that?
Well, everyone has the right to their own opinion, which I clearly believe in after what I stated. So while I don't agree with her opinion, I certainly acknowledge it and I choose to just move on. I'm not going to focus on it and let it take up too much space in my head because it's just an opinion and we all have the right to those.
And Christine, obviously, when you're offering these hair appointments, sometimes you've got customers who book in advance. So you ideally or realistically would know whose hair you were cutting, if they were a biological woman who wanted a trim or a biological male who wanted, a new hairstyle here. Have you run into any issues of folks who were trying to use your services who would have been denied based on your viewpoint?
Not yet. I have a pretty full schedule. Over the last several years, I've really kind of honed in on my clientele and, I'd like attracts like, and that is how it should be in America. There's over 800 licensed hairstylists in Grand Traverse County. I feel that it is absolutely within my rights to take these stance because it's not like I'm the only person in town that they can see for their services. I'm just one of the few that was willing to take a stand and publicly say how I feel.
And publicly, you deleted the post, but the post said that transgender should seek services at a local pet groomer instead. Do you regret saying that?
No, I do not. I understand that what I said was very polarizing, or what I typed actually, but what I typed was not something that I hadn't said before. Not only have I said it, but I've heard other people say that as well. It's not something that I would definitely would necessarily say that way, had I known all of the backlash. But again, sometimes you have to say something and it can be polarizing. But again, it is my opinion. My opinion stems from my religious beliefs and how I feel about this topic.
Are you facing backlash from the city, Christine? Or is there any sort of legal process potentially playing out?
I have been made aware of that there may be in the future. The city is actually actively encouraging members of the community and surrounding communities to report any type of discrimination that they feel that they've had. But the problem is that to my knowledge, there has not been any discrimination. You know, people need to understand that when the services that I specialize in, I work on people from their head up. So there is really no reason to question somebody's gender if they have not brought it to my attention themselves. And at this point, there has not been a situation where anyone has been discriminated against.
All right, Christine Geiger joining us. Again, that viral post since deleted. I know you spoke with the Associated Press, so it dives into a bit more details there. Thanks for joining National Report today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Carrie Sheffield is back with us in studio listening in. Carrie, your thoughts on this story and all the hate mail she's received and the fact that she's standing her ground on her views.
Well, so I've been thinking about, because I think she said, at least earlier, citing the Supreme Court case on the web designer. And I think there are some facts of the case that are a little bit different, and that's where I think legally it might be interesting to see whether or not she would have the same legal defense. Because my understanding of the web designer case is that it was really about freedom of speech, because it was, the Supreme Court said, you cannot compel the speech to, you can't force someone to make a website, which is a type of speech in support of gay marriage, is what she was complaining about in 303 creative case. Well, is a haircut the same thing as is it speech? Is it a website? It's not customized in that way. And so that's where I think she might be on a little shakier legal ground. I would say she would be on stronger ground if it was saying like, oh, you need to do a gay wedding or a trans wedding or things like that. That would be more of a compelled speech against something that is more directly against her religious beliefs as it relates to marriage and things like that. So I think her legal arguments, I'd be curious. I'm not a lawyer, but from my understanding and having looked in depth at the 303 case, it seems a little bit different to me. I also disagree with what she said about going to a dog salon. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that's very kind. However, I do when it comes to the trans issue. So with the Independent Women's Forum, we are very concerned about what's happening with the assault on women's sports, women's prisons, women's shelters, that the very definition of woman is under assault. The definition of, science is under assault, because XX does not equal XY when it comes to chromosomes. So I agree with her on the broader assault on what it means to be a woman. I think that, we got to bring some nuance to the situation.
Okay, well said. Appreciate that perspective, Carrie Sheffield. Thank you very much.